Alright guys, we got another video coming up today. Today is all about reverse lights. Quick bit of information. You have just this is your reverse switch, and the way it works is when you put it in reverse, the transmission pushes this little ball which connects these two little posts, and at that point transfers 12 volts from under the hood to there, across this, back to your reverse lights. As far as the reverse lights themselves, you can use a 3157 bulb, which has two filaments, and it's the ones you would use for your tail lights. But it calls originally for a 3156 bulb, which is a single filament bulb. And today, I actually just figured out that this is what was wrong with this. It's about a $15 part, and as you can see, it's a simple part. It's just something down inside has screwed up. About all you're going to have is a good battery, charged up. This is my test line. It's redneck, but it works. This is just to confirm power. You know, one wire goes onto your wire you're testing for power, the other one just grounds out. In my case, I just found a spot where I had a naked bit of bare metal and went for it. Okay, so what you're going to do is put your parking brake on if you've got one, or if you don't, chalk your wheels, a couple cinder blocks, some 6x6 post cut off or whatever, just to make sure it doesn't roll, because you will need to get under the vehicle. So after you've got your emergency brake on, you put your truck in reverse, turn the key on. Don't try to start it, just turn it on. And then from there, come up here with your little wiring system that you've got, your test light or your voltmeter, whatever. Now this is on a 92 truck, so you've got these slots here. Now this is where you start your power from. You get a 12 volt hot lead from this fuse. It is labeled as E, or if you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it's your number 5 or E spaced fuse. And what you're going to be looking for is, once you take this up, you don't have to take it up, basically just pull it and confirm that you have power at that fuse slot, which all you have to do is just what I'm doing. Put your test wire there, make sure you're getting power, and then your other end, you can see your bulb there. Just test on a good ground, and voila, you have power. This method is not quite as good as using a voltmeter, but if you're out and about and don't have one, you have a bulb, you can use that. So we're going to confirm like we did. We have a good fuse, 15 amp fuse going in. Pop it in, and from there we'll be moving right along. Alrighty, now after you've confirmed there, if you don't know any further, you don't have to do this. This was some other stuff I'd been working on. But lift up this fellow here, and it basically just snaps in right here and here and over here. You see the snap right there. This just snaps into place. You can see right here, this little fellow. Once you pull that up gently, or you will break it, it is brittle 20-plus-year-old plastic. Pull it up, and then you're going to find the wire that comes off your fuse, and in this case it is this wire right here, the purple and orange one. It's purple with a orange tracer, and this here is the 12 volts from the rest of the harness, from the battery, basically. So you got 12 volts in, crosses the fuse, and 12 volts out this wire. That wire goes on down to right here to this connector. If you're looking with the little pin at the top, it's the top right corner. Crosses this and goes down, and then it just goes on down the loom to the transmission. Alrighty. And then once you follow that wire down the to the transmission along the frame, it will go off and you'll find the switch right, let me find it here. Where's it? Oh, right there. Top of the transmission, right there. That's where your reverse switch goes to, is right up there. And then you'll find this 2-wire plug coming out. And the wire plug is the purple wire with the orange tracer from the fuse box up here at the top of the fender apron. It crosses here on this, and then it leaves as a black wire with a pink trace. It goes back into the wiring loom over here, goes back in, goes to the back of the truck, and from there it goes to the tail light. Alrighty, and then once you get back here to where you're going to be dealing with around the tail lights and stuff, I have the trailer harness installed. You may not have it, so you basically be tracing your wiring harness from the frame. This is the driver's side frame, this is the rear, and as you come down there, it'll come down and make a connection. Now, if you do not have the trailer harness, you will not have this T harness right here in the center. This gray piece and this gray piece here will be just connected together across, and this will be gone. But if you do have the trailer harness installed, it'll look just like this, and your black and pink wire comes out of this, crosses back over, and then from there, you can see right here, goes over to your reverse lights. Now it splits off from there and goes back over to your other one over on the other side. But that's where you can also pull voltage. If you're needing to troubleshoot, just pull this apart, find your black and pink wire, and ensure that with the key on and the truck in reverse that you do have 12 volts there. And then, once you follow your wiring harness, it'll come up and it'll terminate in 2 bulb holders. One is your tail lights and your turn signals. The bottom one is your reverse lights. Again, this one being your tail lights and turn signals uses a 3157 bulb, which is dual filament. And then the bottom one that is your reverse lights, it just needs a 3156 single filament, but for testing purposes, I used a 3157 bulb. I just bumped it down just to make sure, because the bulb that wasn't there was blown. And you can see there the 2 filaments. The bottom one is the one you'll be using for right now. So after you ensure you got a good bulb, you should at this point have 12 volts from that box with the key on and the truck in reverse, from the blue fuse over to the connector, from the connector down to the reverse switch, across the reverse switch, back here to this connector where I showed you where the trailer harness is, and then from there you should have 12 volts over here. Now, if at any point you do not have 12 volts, just start from up there, and at each junction keep checking. And if you don't get 12 volts at a certain point, say you get 12 volts from the fuse box over to the reverse switch, but from the reverse switch you're not getting 12 volts on back here, then that means in this wire somewhere there's a break or something's just not hooked up right. But basically that's the day's video. Just another thing, the reverse switch itself, it requires a 7/8 inch wrench to remove it. It's 2-wire setup, just like I showed you before. And from there, again, just it has 2 little snaps. Pull the connector off, and you can test for if you take your bulb and from the purple and orange wire we was looking at earlier on your reverse switch pigtail, if you put one end of your test probe in with the purple and orange wire, and say you ground it out to the transmission and you get power, you are indeed getting power to the switch. And if you go from there, then that helps narrow down, in my case, that it was just a bad switch. But that's today's video, just a short, quick and dirty on where to start looking for if you do not have power to your rear reverse lights here.